For the last few weeks, I've finally been sitting down and watching the Clone Wars with one goal in mind: to understand why people say this is the best Star Wars story ever told. And after finishing season 2, I feel like I'm starting to see it. I'm more invested in these characters than I ever expected, and knowing where all this leads makes every episode feel heavier. And the closer I get to the ending, the more I'm watching for the cracks. But now we're at season 3, and this is the season I keep hearing about. This is the one fans swear is where everything changes. So I went into it expecting it to be good, but I wasn't ready for how hard it was going to hit by the end. Going into season 3, I had a lot of expectations, because season 2 introduced so many threads, and in my head, season 3 was supposed to be the season where those threads finally start coming together. Boba Fett still chasing revenge, Cad Bane still out there, Palpatine clearly studying the Zillo Beast for something bigger, and of course Anakin and Obi-Wan slowly becoming the versions of themselves we know they eventually turn into. So I went into season 3 thinking this is where it all starts paying off, but most of it just didn't, at least not at first. The season opens and I'm waiting for that switch to flip, that moment where you feel the show shift into greatness, and instead it almost felt like the show was playing it safe. For example, the Mandalore arc. It was fine, and I'm not gonna lie, I clocked the twist early on. That took too long. I've been saying this for 2 seasons now. So instead of being shocked, I was more like, okay, let's see where this goes now. Then you've got stuff like the Hunt for Zero episode. It was fun to watch at times, but nothing that made me feel like, okay, yeah, this is why Clone Wars is legendary. And the biggest example of what I mean is the episode where R2 and CPO get kidnapped. Now don't get me wrong, I love R2 and CPO, but that episode was just... it was okay. And when that's happening in the season where everyone told me this was the turning point, it made me nervous for the rest of the series. But then the last few episodes happened, starting with Dooku letting go of Ventress. Up until that point, I thought Ventress was cool, but she didn't really have depth to me yet. But then the show introduces the witch, Talzin, Ventress's home, her people, and her backstory. And automatically, Ventress stops feeling like a generic villain and starts feeling like an actual person. And then we get to the monster. And when I tell you this arc hooked me back into the show, I mean it. We always see how the Jedi are trained, so naturally I was always curious to see the opposite side of that coin. And the longer the arc went, the more invested I became, because he was way more dangerous than I thought he was going to be. He's fighting Anakin and Obi-Wan like he's not even scared of them at all. And there are even moments where he was straight up overpowering them. And by the time the arc ended, I had one question that wouldn't leave my head. Is Darth Maul alive? And if he is, how is that even possible? And right after that arc, the show hits me with something I really wasn't prepared for. Because right after that, we get Mortis. The second I saw someone casually shut off a lightsaber like it was nothing, I knew I wasn't watching a normal Star Wars episode. Ooh, what is going on? These characters felt like the embodiment of light and dark, Jedi and Sith, and my brain couldn't process the questions fast enough. If the siblings represent light and dark, then what was the father? And when the father tells Anakin that if he leaves, his selfishness will haunt him and the entire galaxy, I immediately thought about one thing: Darth Vader. And hearing that spawned like 1,000 questions. Was Anakin supposed to stay there? And if he had stayed, would balance have been achieved? Or was this just another form of manipulation? There's so many questions going through my head at that time. And then there's Ahsoka. That moment where her older self tells her she has seeds of the dark side in her because of Anakin. That completely shook me. Now I'm questioning her future more than ever. Since season 2, my running theory was, Ahsoka is like Anakin, but she'll turn out differently because she learns from other Jedi. But now I have no clue. Watching the daughter use the last bit of her light to bring Ahsoka back made me wonder if that would be the difference. Like maybe Ahsoka has something Anakin would never have, some internal resistance. Even Qui-Gon Jinn showing up threw me off. I honestly didn't expect to ever see him again. And after seeing everything, my biggest question became, what would have happened if Anakin didn't lose those memories? Because he saw his future. He saw what he becomes. So if he wanted to stop it, what would he have done instead? And the craziest part is, I couldn't even tell if the son was fully evil. At first it seems obvious, but the more he talked, the more confusing it became. He showed Anakin his future and it sounded like he wanted to change it. And I couldn't tell if he was trying to save him or trap him. And when the three all die, the father, the son, and the daughter, I was just sitting there thinking, what does that mean going forward? Does any of this connect to Vader? Was him falling to the dark side always destined? And does quote-unquote balance mean something completely different than what I've always assumed? I had no clue. But the one thing I did know was this season completely hooked me, and now I can't wait for season 4.